Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchorbaby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchorbaby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You're the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you so much for tuning in today on this lovely Monday. Few minutes in here, but we're going to get it going, right, folks? Thanks again, everybody who's here. Let me say hello to the streams. Thank you so much. What's up, everybody? Mr. Mad, Chris, Pink, TDS, Santino, Birdie Bound, Brian. We got an air marshal, folks. So be on your best behavior. Right on. Hope your weekend went well. We had a great show on Friday, so thank you to everyone who bought a ticket and had themselves a nice flight on Anchorbaby Airlines. We had ourselves a time. We never did quite land that plane, did we? Not sure what happened to that plane, but we had fun. We had a good show. For those that missed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss anytime we do one of those special Friday shows. Sometimes we hit it the weekend too, so you don't want to miss it. We do it up different. I do want to thank everybody who super chatted and donated. I see you guys running into Rumble. I am streaming on alternative platforms. That's rumble.com/American Anchorbaby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola, and of course, sometimes Twitch if you check out the weekend shows. So thanks again to everybody. I see you, Games for Rec, TJ Hilliard. Appreciate it. So, we're here, American Anchorbaby. Monday, had a great show over the weekend. Great shows. Jesse Lee Peterson, Hake Report. And the topic that's on a lot of people's mind is the war, of course. You know about the war in Israel. Israel versus Palestine. And the wars at home. They're popping off in the families, amongst friends. So it's what people want to talk about. He's also a little Boricua. What the? Someone's been watching too much Nick's stream, Birdie Bound Brian. Someone caught my DNA results when we did my DNA results. Turns out your host might be a little bit Boricua. Hey, whatever. Imagine that. So, Europe will be next. Netanyahu warns. No one will be safe if the Middle East falls to Iran's axis of terror. Headline on Daily Mail. Like I said, it's a topic on people's minds. And I've been saying, like, oh, don't take sides. But it's thrilling. We all get a thrill from it. Here I am not trying to take sides, but we talk about it a whole bunch, huh? Don't we? So I have actually with me today a special guest. You know, he's joined us from Israel. He found Jesse. He found Jesse in the YouTube algorithm, just like all of us. He may have found Jesus in the YouTube algorithm. Let me unmute his mic and say hello to Tomer, someone I met at church, who I find actually interesting. I'd love to introduce him here. Tomer, thanks for joining us here. Let me put you on camera, sir. Appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, Nick. It's a great honor to be here. I'm a great fan. I actually, just to correct, I found Jesse through Facebook.
Oh, nice. The Facebook algorithm serves, the Facebook algorithm saves.
I mean, yes. Now I just, listen daily to the show and since the George Floyd.
Big time.
Yeah.
We had a huge surge in viewership. I remember You know, in troubled times, people turn to Jesse. What's wrong with the blacks, Jesse? I mean, it was a deep time though. It was crazy what was happening.
Yes, and when you see somebody speaks like Jesse, you know, you listen, and then when he talks about the spiritual part, are really connected to everything. At first, you say, okay, I'm not 100%, but then when you actually try and see it in your life, it's just you cannot ignore the truth. You know, you see the truth and.
That's deep, man. Yeah. So when all that was popping off, George Floyd, all that, you were in Israel, were you?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the corona.
Of course.
Everybody was at home.
American culture, it goes everywhere. Even people in the farthest corners of the world are chanting Black Lives Matter. Is that true?
Yeah. I was addicted to consume like American news, I don't know. Like most of Israeli were not aware of this. Most of Israeli, I think, they watch CNN and all this stuff. They call Fox News extreme right.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but they don't care too much about what happens. I followed a lot. I used to be really against Trump, really liberal, a university, and then I came to visit USA at 2018, at the end of it. And I think there was a turning point. I thought about it today. Maybe if you ask me that, I would say this. I heard somebody say, I asked, how come you voted Trump? He's racist, he's bad. And then he said, now we finally have a father. And now I think there was a turning point that I started to see. And from there, after I listened to Jesse, I really became a fan of Trump.
Right. You saw the father comment is what got you. The father, it made something click.
When I look at back now, I think Israeli don't have a father now. We have like also problems, but Trump did the Muslim ban. Trump did love his country, and
you see the Muslim ban as a sign, as a proof that he cares about America.
I mean, he whatever he did, he loves his country. Okay, there's no doubt about it.
Right.
And I see right now in my country, in Israel, we need father.
Yeah. Can you expand on that? You mean the whole people, individuals?
I mean, it's hard to speak against your own country. I will try to say it in very simply. Our prime minister is Benjamin Netanyahu for the past for a long time. And by the way, a lot of the conservative media and even Jesse is a big fan of him.
Yeah. How long has Benjamin been in?
He's on and off for 20 years.
And this is just part of Israeli politics. Like, I know I grew up in Canada, and people wonder why is Justin Trudeau still prime minister? It's been like 12 years. Well, they don't really have term limits up there, or for prime ministers in that way.
Well, you know, they can change the rules because they make the rules. That's why there was a lot of issues that actually the situation became to be like that. But what I wanted to say is that if you know the Global Economic Forum, that is very controversial, but Benjamin Netanyahu has participated a few times in this.
When you say Global Economic Forum, you mean the World
Economic Forum.
Gotcha.
You know? So the Bill Gates and all the conspiracy theories. Eventually, he was there. So I want to be a patriot for my own country. I don't want to speak against. But I think Jesse and a lot of the conservatives don't understand that about Benjamin Netanyahu. If you are for Israel, I mean, if you're against Israel, I mean, or
if you're against, I guess you wouldn't like anybody there, huh? But on Benjamin, I find this fascinating because there have been people who draw parallels between Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump. And I personally, when you ask me, I'm a simple man, and I think, well, I love Trump, nationalist, strong, cares about his country. If there's someone else in someone else's country that's like him, I want a Trump for them too. But you're saying you're talking about something quite interesting that I've heard a little bit about. It's a sort of, shall we call it, a globalist connection between with Benjamin Netanyahu and his ideology or what he's into?
First of all, Benjamin Netanyahu is not Trump. That's a very, very big difference. And also in the last interview with Trump, he said, F Bibi. You know, this is...
Oh, Trump.
Yeah.
There was something. What was that? I forgot about...
There was a big interview in Israel.
Yes.
And eventually he understood who is he dealing with. So again, I don't think it's the best time in times of war to speak, but if it's for the best of my own country and what I believe, I feel like I cannot talk about the subject without it. And it's not like it's a secret. This World Economic Forum is, you know, the Great Reset is a real book. I didn't get into it too much. But I know people in America have, when they look at the world in Israel, they say, oh, it's another coronavirus. We don't believe the pictures. We don't want to get into it. At least at the beginning. Now they are more excited, thrilled, watching a movie.
Hey, war is thrilling. For especially armchair warriors like myself.
Yeah. And I get it. I get it. Really, an American patriot who wants just his life here to be normal. I was here in 2018. The prices were 3 times less. 3 times. Here in LA. It's crazy. I never seen this rise of prices anywhere.
Talking about the runaway inflation. I saw something like McDonald's was like $16 for a burger and fries.
I never seen any like rises on prices like that. But I think the reason is that America is involved is because it's also an attack on America. You know, at a certain point, it's not just what do we gain from it. I heard the Hake show, and the guest said, I'm for USA to be involved if we gain for it something. And it is true if it was a regular thing with Gaza. But now it's not a regular war. This is a real war and even a little bit an attack on America itself. So there's nothing to gain from it. It's just America has been attacked through Israel. You know?
I'm understanding what you're saying. I want to get into that for sure. I definitely want to get into. I also want to get into your time there because I think a lot of my viewers may not have heard from someone who, because it's quite easy to say, well, Israel, they're there for wrong reasons, illegitimate reasons. But then here's someone, you were born there. You were born there, right?
Yeah.
Way after its founding. And now this is your lot in life. I mean, it's an interesting thing. I want to get into all that. About Benjamin Netanyahu, just quick. We were talking about him. So you don't see him as a Trump in any way?
Yeah, it's not. This is. I've been saying it since I started to be a fan of Trump. He's not Trump. And a lot of Israelis also think about, he's just like Trump. He's a racist, right-wing, and they are the same. And it's also the liberal mindset in Israel is also destructive. But I think it's both sides, they are godless. That's what I think.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, so you say godless. How do you see that? When you say godless, what is it that you mean?
It's been the one side is actually an atheist, and the other side, Satan is their daddy.
Big, deep.
That's it.
That makes a lot of sense, man.
Yeah.
So this is another reason why I wanted you on. I met you at church. You're a man from Israel, calls himself a Jew, but you see the truth in forgiveness, forgiving your mother, and all that. I want to get into some of that. But real quick on Benjamin, just because I find it somewhat interesting, my viewers as well. Nice. You're saying World Economic Forum, right? And for those that don't know, the World Economic Forum it really is just that, a forum where world leaders meet and discuss possible plans and ideologies for governing their respective nations, right? And they say, I've heard this claim on Netanyahu that he's kind of more on the globalist side. I've heard people like Alex Jones say that actually Israel and Netanyahu's government, they're trying to wrestle free from the globalists. Do you know anything about that, or?
It sounds like an excuse to protect Bibi, why he's okay. But World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, is the Great Reset, you will have nothing and you will like it. And it's every year that we see another disaster after disaster, and China actually calling the shots. But I hope, the truth is I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. That's up.
I don't know. It could be all a show and act,
Yeah.
So we can only assume, but But if you have a leader, the same one, it's like a coach. If you have a team you like, right? You want the team to win, and suddenly you see the fans are supporting the coach not to be fired, and the team keep losing. I mean, there is a certain point that it's not patriotic to support the coach, right?
Right.
So it's not making me happy, but that's how I see things.
And at this point, the government has basically unified. I keep hearing this. You'll tell me any reality about this, but I hear that this war has basically unified the previously fractured government because now, well, we have a common enemy. Is that fair to say? Is there a unity in the government in Israel now?
The people, yeah. The politicians are dysfunctional. So because everybody is like, okay, this is the enemy. Everybody support our soldiers. The soldiers in Israel is like our children, you know? Everybody goes to the army. And this is not a good thing. It's used against us.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's like we are too emotional.
You served in the IDF, I imagine.
Yeah, I was in a tank commander.
Okay.
Every male getting an army, a call to the army. Some are soldiers, some, you know. So eventually, it's a mandatory. Okay, so everybody supports the army, and there is a unity because the fact is that right now the IDF, in order to regain its reputation, you need to understand we got hit hard like never before. And IDF, as long, okay, they talk about proportional response. The proportional response, as an IDF, I don't say that you need to agree with this. I don't say that I agree with this. But the proportional response is to evacuate Gaza to Egypt.
That's just a military reality.
That's the proportional response, and also including returning all of the 240 kidnaps. And they talk about innocent civilians in Gaza. I can show you a picture that the innocent civilians, while everything happened, they went across the border and kidnapped people themselves. I don't know. Again, you can doubt all of the pictures, whether they're true or not. But right now, Israel is pretty united on the fact that, well, I want to say that there are no innocent in Gaza, but I don't think it's all Israeli are united with it. But I think it's a reality that Gaza is one big shaheed, and as long as they're alive, in their own opinion, as long as they're alive, they won. As long as Gaza exists after this thing, which was a terror attack, they won. So it's a sad reality.
So what is shaheed?
Shaheed is a kamikaze, it's suicide.
Oh, okay.
It's like a suicide survived.
Right. I mean, I've seen the videos, man. I've seen the videos. That's what they say. I mean, this is the captions say. I don't know, but the captions of the video say it'll show these Palestinian children run into a Israeli police police precinct or whatever, and start stabbing cops. And these are children, right? So I've seen the videos, man. And I know people are calling for proportionality, blah blah blah. But here's my take on the whole proportionality thing, is that it's a military reality that you have to respond, not only respond, but neutralize the threat.
Yeah.
You're getting bombed, etc. So I understand that military reality. But when people talk about there's no innocence in Gaza, there's civilians or etc. This is how I see it. They say children are innocent, but not true. Children are products of their parents, and usually parents are evil.
It's unfortunate because they are being taught in the classroom. Okay. Also in Africa, they are being given guns at a very early age, and they are grown. It's like a greenhouse of the Muslim world. It's Hamastan. It's not Gaza Strip.
But my thing too is that I see this evil because how parents create evil children. So I don't see the innocence that people talk about, but I don't think people see it the way I see it. I think most people are hateful, and they don't see that they have an understanding that, wow, these are children who were born into sin, that it really isn't their fault. And I don't think most people see it my way. I think most people are willing to go too far because
But they are in prison. The government controls the parents, and you cannot go. this is prison of the Muslim, not of Israel. Okay, they have border with Egypt. Egypt don't let them in. It's like a settlement. They don't have a choice. If they reject to their own government, the government takes care of them. They educate them from very early age, and they have, you know, they are innocent when you think about it. What they are born into this reality. Right. It's not. It's horrifying. It's hell, but it's hell. It's real hell, and they are trained from age 0 to kill themselves, to kill Jewish people. That's all.
All of them.
All of them. There is no innocent in Gaza. First of all, Muslim religion. Okay, there is a rooted problem in the Muslim religion. As a Jewish person, you know, that infidels, Christians and Jewish people are infidels based on the religion. If you don't convert them, they should be killed. That's so the fundamentals actually do something about it. And Gaza is, now we see it. 2 million people in such a small area. It makes sense what happened. It was just
man, fascinating. There's so many things we're going to get into here. Thanks again for your time, Tomer. I want to get into a little bit of, you're a man, you call yourself Jewish. That's something that's fair to say. You say that's how you see yourself, but yet you saw something in Jesse's message. It clicked. Forgiveness, the mother even. Do you mind going into that a little bit?
Yes. Well, I thought I said, okay, he's Christian, and I don't want to get too much into not kosher stuff. Okay. But I always believe.
What do you mean by that?
I always believed in God,
okay.
And I'm saying if now all this message that I really liked that Jesse said, if it's now New Testament and I know I need to get baptized, I don't know.
You're thinking that you need to go and dunk your head in the water?
Yeah, I just said, you know, why Christian own forgiveness? I cannot go and forgive my own parents if I'm Jewish. So
well, if I could respond to that, I mean, it's funny. I don't want to speak for Christians, but the way I see that is when I think of the word Christian, I'm not even thinking of, I'm just thinking about the truth. And the truth is not owned by a set of people who call themselves Christians. Exactly. It's for all people who can see. And here's a man who calls himself Jewish, and you see about forgiveness. So I just find that quite interesting. You were saying it's not kosher? What do you mean?
Like, you know, in Israel they don't like Christians. Jewish people in Israel are not.
You saying they don't like Christians?
Jesus is like a curse almost.
Oh, so you're saying the Jews in Israel don't like Christians?
Yeah, no. It's like derogatory term for Jewish who is too much into America. And I don't know.
Is there a word for that?
It's not really a word, but if it's like crossing the line.
So is it a word in Hebrew or something that you call people?
They just don't see you as real.
What do you call Jews that are way too into America? If it's not too offensive.
No, it's like hate for white people.
Okay, because like for example, they call blacks who are too into whites Uncle Toms or whatever. Yeah,
do
they have a word for that?
There's no name for it.
Okay,
they just I thought no. I heard somewhere it's not something common, but you're Jesus. It's like
you Jesus lover.
Yeah, what are you, Jesus? You know, they pretty sympathizes sometimes, but what I try to say is that 2 weeks before I heard Jesse, I was in a fallen state, big time. I remember myself saying that I will never forgive my parents without even hearing about Jesse.
You said you're never going to.
I'm saying if tomorrow my parents die, I will not go to their funeral. And it's not even related to you know.
Yeah.
And then, and my life was not good. You know, I really was right about everything. I was so much right, but I was sitting at home and watching all day with the long hair. I had very long hair.
I saw. Someone told me you showed him a picture.
Yeah, my Facebook.
Yeah, like
page.
rocker hair.
I sold it. It was very long hair.
Nice.
And eventually, I after 4 years not even working, I started to take very simple jobs, and one step at a time. Eventually, I did a silent prayer every morning, every evening. I went and forgave my parents. I said, yeah, let's see if it works. I will give it time. And every day is better. And I know. The kingdom of heaven is within.
Deep, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you just knew that was true. Anger.
I say I don't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I thought about it? Something, when the war started, a lot of people had panic attacks. And the panic attacks, your heart beats. And I think I had a few of those before. But the silent prayer is perfect for it because you just sit down and watch it as a spiritual thing, not as you. And you let it go. And now I understand. And now when you do it, when you do the silent prayer without the panic attack, this is when you start to actually, there is a reason why it exists.
Yes.
I mean,
this is why I say that you're a Jewish man with maybe a heart of a Christian. I mean, maybe people don't see that as a possible thing, but
I wanted to clarify.
Just talking to you here. Clarify. Go ahead.
Yeah. Before the show, you asked me what I want to talk about, and I said, this the 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒍𝒔 thing that
we
think that you're the real Jewish.
We're gonna get into that too.
I'm just saying the main difference between Christian and Jewish is that you believe that Jesus is the Messiah, and Jewish people wait for the Messiah.
Right.
Okay.
Man, about waiting, can I ask you something? If it's not
waiting
about waiting and Jews, I gotta ask. Because I'm here in this area, in Pico Robertson, and there's a lot of Jewish people in this area.
What do you mean by waiting?
I'm about to tell you. There's a lot of Jewish people in this area, and I drive down that way, and I'll be at a green light, and they'll still cross. Like they won't wait.
I know.
They don't know.
I wasn't in the meeting when they decided to.
I'm like, all this waiting for Messiah, you can't wait for.
I tell you what I can say about what you say. A lot of people go along with the stereotype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, I'm Jewish, so I need to focus on money. It's like it's bad. I don't like it.
You don't like stereotypes, you mean?
No, the people buy into their own. There is a stereotype, and they like.
Yes.
Go. No, with it.
I don't like. I like to meet people as an individual. Absolutely.
Exactly.
At the same time, I'm not someone who shies from stereotypes because there's a little bit of truth in this judgment. And it is judged. People are hateful and they're judgmental, but there's a little bit of, there's a reason why people talk in certain ways. And it's not all true and it's not even all the way true. Yeah, but I don't think
you can tell when
it's
somebody's
not something to take personally, I think.
Yeah, you can tell like someone's going along with it. And
okay. I think I know what you mean. Like that's all, they can't even see straight. They're just going with stereotypes.
Just fake,
Yeah, I mean, because there's the stereotypes and then there's the person you're talking to.
Yeah, and there's like an unnatural behavior, like an identity. It's an identity, simple as that. Okay. They believe in an identity, and it's not living in reality.
I see, man. Very interesting. So I wanted to, you mentioned �𝒊𝒄𝒂𝒍𝒔. Definitely need to get into that. You mentioned, okay, we do have a caller as well. You open on taking calls?
You ask me?
Yes.
Of course.
Right on. Okay, great.
It's your show.
So let me just check here. I want to make sure I haven't missed any of our super chats and our friends here who have been supporting the show. Tomer, you have any social medias or anything you want to plug?
Well, my last name is not easy to write.
Spell it.
So okay.
If you want to, you're going to dox yourself if you give them your last name like that.
Why not? If I'm already here,
Not necessarily. You don't need to put more than you need to, man. It'd be unwise to do so.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm okay with it.
If you want them to find you, that's how you do it.
So the first name is Tomer, is Tomer, and the last name is Tsiporen.
Tsiporen, and they can find you on Facebook, I imagine.
I post on Facebook.
If you post.
Yeah. I post on Twitter, on X.
Very cool. You're on X.com as well.
Not too many followers, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll start something.
Well, okay. Well, Tomer, so you mentioned �𝒊𝒄𝒂𝒍𝒔. People want to talk about this. �𝒊𝒄𝒂𝒍𝒔 was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show not too long ago. It was to some, it was a very enlightening episode. I mean, what I got from it, if I could be clear, well, just to be just a little, I guess, refresher to the viewers who didn't see it. If I could summarize, �𝒊𝒄𝒂𝒍𝒔 was criticizing the religious interpretation of Christians in America that they have of the Bible and Israel's claim to that land, and also a commentary on who the true Jews are, sort of like the Jewish lineage, and how it's the Christians who are the new Israel, or the new Jews in a sense. In a bit of a summary there. I mean, just going off from there, Tomer, is there any thoughts off the top?
I'm saying Bill is very knowledgeable and can go deep into stuff in Jewish religion that I even don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I oversimplify now,
mm-hmm.
and it makes sense. And you eventually, as I said, Jewish people don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah. Christians believe that Jesus is the Messiah. Jewish people, because of that, are not supposed to come back to Israel until the Messiah comes, okay?
Oh.
So that's why you see a lot of the Hasidic Jews that are against Israel. Did you see these pictures?
I've seen them. Yeah, there's people, they said something about this, that they're against, that's because actually blasphemous.
We are not supposed to come back to Israel until the Messiah comes. I have an explanation
mm-hmm.
that, that the fact that we don't know who is the Messiah or what doesn't... Israel is a fact. It undeniably exists. So which means that
You
Messiah...
mean today? You mean today's
today
Israel exists?
Exists. You cannot deny it.
I mean, that's true. They had the guns to prove it and the nukes to keep it, in my
We have
opinion.
recognition, and that's why could be that Messiah came and we didn't know. That's my rationalization of it.
Mm.
But based on the religion, half of the Jewish of the world, that's a fact, don't live in Israel.
Mm.
Some people who live in Israel even having trouble with it. I'm talking about the real religious. And
the real religious Jews in Israel are having trouble with.
They need to give you an answer for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it doesn't come off so pretty sometimes. And but it's not black and white.
Because just to be clear, it doesn't come off pretty because they have to contend with. I guess in Scripture it says that they shouldn't be in Israel until the Messiah comes.
And don't forget the whole. In Israel, in the beginning, there was a Holocaust. Okay, that's Israel, which means, what? Hitler is the Messiah.
Oh.
You understand? So because of the Holocaust, you return to your homeland when you're supposed to return to your homeland only if the Messiah comes. So it's a big issue. It's a religious issue. I say Israel exists undeniably state, which means maybe the Messiah come and we didn't know who he is. That's my rationalization. But the Christians, what I say, I learned a lot about the Muslim religion, this war, because there are a lot of people who try to explain. And they say, it's in the Quran, it's in the Muslim religion that Israel is the home of the Jewish people.
Oh, for real?
For real, 100%. It's written and they all agree about it. That's crazy, right?
So help me understand. So you mean...
I can give you two videos, the religious people, it's in the Quran. Israel is promised by God to the Jews.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think about what Bill Lockwood is saying about that? That it was promised to them, but I guess they lost their claim to it due to being disobedient.
Well, if you believe it, you believe it. But we don't care about you. You try to kill us. So I don't... the Jewish, we even have it in... Our enemies even agree with it. Mm-hmm. So it's 2 against 1, you know what I mean? So
that's interesting. I mean, I don't doubt it that it's in the Quran, because even in the Bible, to me, I'm not saying... I mean, even in the Bible, it's there. Now, there's a debate on what that means today, but whatever. That's not neither here. My point is, I don't doubt that it's in the Quran for that very reason, because Israel has been talked about as the land of the Jews since the time of the Bible.
It's much more simple.
Sense here.
It's just, you say, we are Christians, Jesus is the real Messiah. And that's why that's why you think you're the real Jew. I think, you know what, the bottom line that I had in this...
Oh, okay, I got you.
The bottom line...
that the Christians think that anyone who's thinking what Bill Lockwood said is only thinking that because they think Jesus is the Messiah.
That's the New Testament, you know.
Gotcha. So you have to believe in Jesus for you to arrive to being the new Jews, new Israel.
I really don't know a lot about Christianity. Mm-hmm. And but I can tell you that the bottom line of it's godless.
Christianity.
All this discussion is nothing has to do about God.
What discussion?
All this discussion, it doesn't have anything to do with God.
Yeah.
Think about it. People kill each other, sacrifice their life, their children. Horrible war. And it's have absolutely nothing to do with God.
Yeah.
wow. And then it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing for me. Just it's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, you said it. It's interesting that you said that it's a godless two sides in Israel, and it reminds me of what's going on here in America.
It's just as anything,
godless, on both sides. It's just like some are pretending.
Another spiritual battle.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah,
people being people. Interesting
that you say about I don't know anything about Christians, but yet you were kind of ahead on the curve with forgiveness. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit. I wanted to demonstrate this for people that it's not what you think it is. But even ourselves, we're discovering that. I mean, here you are, a man from Israel here with Jesse Lee Peterson, black man from Alabama, talking about forgiveness and Jesus. What do you think about Jesus?
It's crazy. The Jesus part, is like foreign to me. I don't know.
You were telling me you were watching
Jewish.
The Chosen.
I was watching The Chosen. It's like foreign. It's like it's like not kosher. I don't understand what's going on.
And what does that mean when it's not kosher?
It's like it's like you have here the different types of food that my belly doesn't digest well. And I see these stories, which for you is like, when I watch the Hollywood movies about the Old Testament, I really like it. There was a Noah's Ark movie, suddenly, and the Exodus.
You're picking teams. You're just picking teams. You're just like
the stories of
Jewish
the
stories.
Old Testament. But the forgiveness part, what I want to say is something really, Jesse said, don't do it just because I said so, right? So I try something, and I see I don't have anything to lose.
Right.
And it fits so perfect for my destructive life with a very big ego. By the way, I was sure that I'm right, and I had ego. And I went for it all in, and it simply works. So why do I care?
What a blessing.
I want to say another thing. I saw 2 days ago. There was a man forum here, and it blew my mind. I don't know how I suddenly thought about it. So because Jesse said, I did something, and it's kind of contradicts, because I did it just because Jesse said that. Think about it, not to judge somebody because he's evil. So such a normal thing for a person to do. He's evil, he's doing bad stuff, I judge him and I hate him. And now, just because Jesse said, I'm not hating him, I'm not judging him, although I think he's evil, and how much change it has on your life. Just you stop judging people because there's evil in the world. Oh, and I thought about it, how much this thing works, It's like I had it all wrong, and I don't know who I am, I don't know about how to live this life.
Nice.
So
that's so fascinating.
So that's the thing, you should not. Some people are really afraid to go all in because I'm not going to do it just because Jesse said. You try it for yourself. You see if it works, and that's how you know.
And the thing is too. I mean, you even described it. There's a little part of you that kind of. I mean, you said you were never going to forgive your parents.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It was a big part. There were a lot more things like that it came and fit too good.
You said now you don't know how to live your life. Can you describe a little bit about that? And is that a bad thing or a good thing?
When you see it, it's good. Of course it's good. Because if you think you just destroy yourself.
Yeah.
So that's
amazing. I love that, man. Yeah. Listen. Let's take a call. There's there's a lot of interesting things that we touched on that I want to get into. Namely, you mentioned the Jews in Israel don't like Christians. And there's a couple of things I think people have wrong about that. Religious sanctioning. You mentioned the Islam sanctions basically killing infidels and all that. But then there's all this stuff about the Talmud, and I don't know anything about that. And people I think don't know either. And Israel and the connection with the West. So many interesting things here. We also have callers here with our guests here. Tomer, much appreciated. We all appreciate him here being here with us. We're going to take Frederick out of Los Angeles, California. Frederick, you're on the air with Tomer. Thanks for your call.
How's it going, Tomer? How's it going, Nick?
Good. All is well.
Nice. Thanks, Frederick.
All right. I was just going to touch on something that you said about identity and something you said about Gaza, about them all.
Is he coming in a little low? You want me to turn him up? Sorry, Frederick, can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something he said about the identities that people dwell in and promote because of the stereotypes and Gaza being all bad. Do you think there's no good Palestinians in Gaza and all Israel is good? Is that what I was hearing you saying, or you don't know what to believe anymore?
Not all. I don't think all of... I know Israeli people, and I don't think all of them are good at all. In fact, even 2 months or 2 years already, I'm saying it's not a good place to live in, even before all the mess starts, and because of people. But in this war, there are two sides. And one is good, which is Israel. It's my country. And there is bad. And there is evil, which is Gaza. And there are no innocents. There is no innocence in Gaza. They are being grown from age 0. And it's sad. It's not... But that's the reality. Eventually, even if it's a kid with a gun or if it's a woman with a gun, it comes to shoot you or kidnap people, the IDF needs to respond to it and need to shoot back. And I'm sure that every person who wants to live would do that. And
it sounds like theocracy or the religion being the controlling part of the government and you viewing people. It seems like that's why there's so much turmoil over there. Do you agree? Do you think that religion and politics is bad?
Well, yeah, but especially in Israel, we are defined ourselves as the Jewish democracy. There's a big issue because of what I just talked with Nick. A lot of people who's really right wing they put above the Jewish and then democracy. Okay, Israel is a new country, it's 70 years, but it still needs to justify itself religious-wise, and the Jewish is like people so proud of it, thousands of years. Okay, the Jewish will still exist and existed in the past without the state of Israel.
I wanted to point out that you made an interesting point about that, though, is that at its core, it is a godlessness. So, Frederick, you were going to respond?
Yes. I wanted to say he was also saying, wait a minute. He threw me off with the godlessness. No, it is godlessness, but no, what I like about Jesse, do you believe when Jesse says you become what you hate? Because it seems like history repeats itself, and now you're waking up different than you was raised, because I see these new Jewish kids growing up hating Christians over there, and you don't like that, and you see the godlessness of it. But becoming what you hate is like the Jews becoming Hitler. You know what I'm saying? They like get in power, and then they like, oh no, now the Nazis are not in power.
It's not a great example. The Jews become like their enemies. Like I will tell you, for example, in this war, they say that to be vicious, some people say, you need to be vicious to them because this Middle East, and you need to be more Middle East. Israel is too much West.
Like a Holocaust to Palestine. Is that what you're saying?
Not a Holocaust. Forget about the Holocaust. Leave about it aside. It's not a Holocaust.
No, we can't forget about the Holocaust.
It's not a Holocaust. They did to us a Holocaust.
You're saying that is quite different.
He asked a question about you become what you hate. Right? So I want to respond.
Yeah, Frederick, hold on.
Now they do vicious stuff to put babies in ovens and all this stuff. So now we need to return to them. So this is how we become what we hate, because we need to start doing stupid stuff instead of the military necessary things in order to win. So we focus on the vicious, and then we become vicious, and then we become like them, Middle East, and not doing the right stuff. That's like a spirit. The hate stuff is spiritual. Now about the Holocaust, you say that we become like them. There were a few people who criticized Israel that said something like, you say, Israelis, not a lot of Israelis don't like the situation, and say, we will eventually, if we will control society, we will be like what they did to us. So I don't think it's comparable.
You're saying there are Jewish people in Israel who are.
I mean, the left wing,
the left wing who have that fear of becoming like Hitler and being a Jew, like supremacy or whatever.
They say if you control other land
yes.
and you suppress them, you become like what you hate. And it was voices. I don't believe it's like that but spiritually, you're right. Spiritually, it's the same spirit of evil because it's plus and minus, the 1-0. It's spiritually, and I tell you, it's It's on both sides. It's on both sides.
And you're saying it's not even like Hitler. They just kind of became like the Arabs.
It's a mess. It's a spiritual war, and
they've adopted
when it comes
the Muslim
to
spirit,
that's
not
why I say
Hitler's
it's
spirit.
godless. Eventually.
That's for sure.
Do you know about the pharaohs?
The pharaohs.
Tomer.
Oh, Lord. No, I'm joking, Frederick. I didn't counter signal.
pharaohs?
Yeah, let's let Tomer respond.
Moses was raised by the pharaohs, right?
Yeah, I saw the movie. Yeah. No, just I'm aware of
Prince of Egypt.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Oh, God. But the plagiarism is where the lie begins. So if they're plagiarizing, like, the first concept of God, why don't y'all return to the Father and make it one guy?
Do you know about what he's talking about?
Like Akhenaten did. Yeah, there was
Are you
one
saying,
guy.
Frederick, that the Jews and the Moses story is a plagiarism of the Pharaoh story? Because I don't know if our guest knows anything about that. You're kind of throwing him in the deep end, my friend.
The Ptolemy. Well, let's talk to him. Okay, go ahead.
Me personally, I don't know that we plagiarize. It's an endless. I can find many contradictions and stuff, but that's why I'm focusing.
So
I tell you, that's why I focus on the oversimplifying that I did in the beginning. That's why I focus on this. You believe Jesus is the Messiah. We don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. That's the difference. Now, this is why, according to Jewish religion, we are not supposed to come back to Israel until the Messiah comes. And Israel is a fact that it exists, undeniably. So, which means you can look at it in a different way, like I explained. And the rest, you can go deep into Old Testament, New Testament, the Talmud, and look, and you can find whatever you're looking for. That's the truth. You can find whatever you're looking for.
Interesting point. Frederick, so what do you want to say about but by all means, Frederick, make your question or further on the pharaohs to clarify.
Okay. The people in the time that Islam came around, why would they okay Muhammad to make Islam a religion if they considered Jesus to be a Messiah and y'all didn't? I mean, a prophet. Y'all okay Islam in 630 AD to be a religion because they agreed with your first four books. They also use that in their Quran, but also they included Christianity so they can make their money from Christianity, and they let them have the books just to fight them over it. Why even accept Islam as a religion to even start back in the 600, 300 BC? I mean AD. Yeah, AD anyway.
You ask me?
Do you have any response to that?
To gain power.
Do Jews if I'm understanding you, Frederick, do Jews in a large part accept or deny Islam? I mean, I imagine they deny it because they're Jewish.
Well, they don't. They always have wars, and they don't want to.
Did you roll up, Frederick, after the Hake report?
We don't want to die. That's all.
Did you roll up after the Hake report? No, don't answer that.
I did.
That's the problem.
No.
That's why we're not getting anywhere, Frederick.
No, we are because he's not. I mean, he don't know about it.
That's fair. He does know about it, Frederick.
Yeah, that's the answer. I just don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know about it. That's not fair. Frederick, last thing you want to say before we move the wheels?
That's it. Next time, I'm trying to push to end kosher goods. Do we think that's a good idea, or do we think Americans should split the bill for all kosher goods in America?
He's saying he's brought this up before that their kosher goods in America have basically a monopoly over food and are basically causing prices, causing people. They're making it's like he calls it basically like a racket, like a mafia. Hey, you gotta get kosher certified, or you can't be around these parts. And so I don't know.
I tell you, it's a problem in Israel as well.
Oh, for real?
Yes, it's because Israeli don't like to be forced. Also, the secular people. The kosher is a real issue, and what you're talking about. I think it's real because it's a profession. When it's a profession, when a person comes to a restaurant and give the certificate, and he pays a lot of money for it to be kosher.
Yes, thank you. All right, that's all I wanted to know.
The kosher mafia. Right on, Frederick. Hey, thanks for your call.
It's also halal. Also, the Muslim have their halal.
They have their own, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Frederick,
Yep.
but you're a pharaoh, right?
Yes.
Not. I don't mean that as a
Yes,
pejorative.
I'm a pharaoh,
but
non-Christian,
so you're
I'm
not into the
independent,
you're not into
non-liberal.
halal or kosher.
No.
All right, Frederick, call me again,
But
sir.
we do. All right.
Right on, man. Well, thanks again, callers. You can call in 888-775. Nice, man. I appreciate you coming on. I'm having fun too. 888-775-3773 if you want to get on the air and talk to our guest here, Tomer, from Israel, all the way from Israel. Yes, heard around the world. And we're talking about a bunch of things here. He's told us how he forgave his life in Israel and how he sees many things here. How shall we do this? I want to thank our super chatter here, Kohlberger Art. You may have met him at church. Kohlberger Art.
Kohlberger?
I'm not going to give his name on the air. I don't know if he wants to dox himself, but he's kind of a public guy. Hey, he says, "Hey, Tomer, amazing info. Nice. Thank you for the support there."
Cool, thank
Kohlberger. And my supporters there on Rumble, thank you for being a member, rumble.com/American Anchorbaby. Like I said, folks, 888-775-3773. You know, we're talking about a little bit about religious sanctioning, if you will. Kosher this, what's allowed that. And there's this talk, and I'm kind of ignorant about this kind of things. Because I'll have people in my own chat, they'll be like, "But Nick, don't you know the Talmud says this? Don't you know the Talmud says that?" And when they show me, it looks pretty bad.
Oh.
It looks pretty bad.
I'm not. From what I saw, there are horrifying things in the Jewish New Testament, but it needs to be interpreted by people who are authorized. That's what when I asked about.
Can you first, for our viewers, what am I even talking about here?
It's about primitive laws.
Okay, the Talmud.
The whole thing. You know, that's just, you know, they don't talk about the Old Testament. They talk about the interpretations of the smart people. That's the Talmud and the Gemara and all this. It's interpretations by the smart people of old times, whatever.
Oh, okay.
And you know, that's the Jewish religion these days. There are many streams, many interpretations, many approaches, and some people say, of course, great wisdom, and this is the Jewish religion these days.
Wow.
I'm not really well informed about it, but you can pick a lot of primitive laws that make it look violent or that are not adapted for these days. And
because I've heard people say the things that when the Talmud says something about the Gentiles, well, it's also, it may sound crazy, but like you're saying, these are ancient laws.
Yeah.
And I mean,
the interpretation, you know, they say you cannot just read it as it is. So that's how they protect us when you ask about the real religious. And of course, you know, that's why I say religion has got not a lot to do with God.
Yeah, that's a really good point you made, man. I mean, if you ask me, I mean, whatever, people believe in something, right? And if it's Talmud this, Talmud whatever, you call it whatever you want, you can see from their fruits, you know, what they're about. And so if you're going to tell me the fruits of Talmudism is all this weird stuff, then we can have a conversation about it. But it's very interesting what you're saying.
It's a way of life, don't forget.
Yes, that too. At the core of it, though, it's godlessness and people interpreting religion and coming to all sorts of mess.
It's just another thing. It's just another people being people, I call it.
Yes. Very, very interesting. I wanted to ask you, you said something interesting. Messiah, okay, Christians in Israel. I've seen videos that they're spitting on them and all that. But also, I don't think they tell the other side is that there's these are like American pastors showing up and preaching on the streets of Israel. I mean, would you want that in your own home? You know what I mean? I heard some of these guys got arrested too.
Christian are really not popular, but not that violent. They don't. There are not so many Christians. There are a lot of tourists. You know, if a tourist want to go to Jerusalem, to the holy places, he will be accepted and go, and everything will be fine. It'll be, of course, good friends. A lot of Israeli have good relations, good friends. But I'm talking about people, the Jewish people in Israel. When the culture start to come, like American culture, too much on TV, the McDonald's everywhere, they fight against it. They want to bring their own. It's like you don't like Starbucks everywhere. Well,
Right.
you want the local coffee, right?
I totally understand.
So-
or a bunch of Lupita on the corner.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but there is really, I guess there are some extreme cases that violence, but in generally the culture is like, it's like a love-hate. Honestly. Because there's times where the culture really is embraced, but then again, at least like you can say 50% are, it's 50-50 like.
So, gotcha, man. Very interesting. But just to be clear, just to be fair here, there are then, so it is true that there are some who have this understanding, misinterpretation, whatever you want to call it, of the Talmud, and have interpreted that to be a religious sanctioning of a hatred towards Gentiles.
I can tell you that right now in Israel, there is more and more people are becoming more religious with the costumes. I call it costumes.
Costumes, I was about to say.
Yeah, but I don't remember it when I was younger. So it's an identity, it's a way of life, it's a tradition, and I think it's not the essence of to be Jewish, but especially if there is a thing and that the criminals when they go to court. Suddenly they put the Jew hat. You call it
Gotcha.
Jew hat. Suddenly, they do all this stuff. They still kill, but then the court, they put all in the name of
all in the name.
That's what so to connect it, this is the definition of the commandment, taking the Lord's name in vain.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole costume, and eventually you are godless. Oh, so you can interpret until the cows come home.
Right.
But eventually... I mean, that's taking the Lord's name in vain. That's the definition.
To hate Gentiles, etc., is taking the Lord's name in vain.
Bible thumper, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. Very interesting, man. Thank you. So I got callers. Let's get to some of these callers. We got Justin, Fullerton, California. Sir, you're on the air. Appreciate your call. You're on with Tomer.
I appreciate you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah, no problem.
I just wanted to make it brief and all. I wanted to say. In the most succinct way that I know, Jesus, whom you may know or not know, has, I guess, become the fulfillment of the law. And that's what he claimed. And I guess when the world recognized it, it was not Islam, but Israel and Islam had become one in the same region, once again, where they fought against the Philistines. It's not an old thing, But Jesus being the fulfillment of the law means, from my understanding of his teaching, that he is not a rabbi and he's not a prophet, as Israel and many Islamic people say. But if they study his word, they will find that he is holding people accountable. If they say, not just a Bible thumper, not just a Torah thumper or whatever, Quran thumper, if they say that they are, in fact, loving God, they need to do it with their mind, strength, soul, everything. And the second in the commandments, that is to love your neighbor like yourself. So therefore, all the arms and all the fighting need to be laid down. Islam is not a religion of peace. And I think that Jesus knew for many, many days and years in the future what was going to happen. And until peace is recognized, the old commandments, which is not the fulfillment of the law, where everyone is giving an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, will be set free from this hell.
Gotcha, Justin. So on that, Tomer, do you have anything to respond to that?
Yes. Okay, that's your understanding, and of course, it's. I don't have any problem with what you say. I didn't get everything. I wanted to say that in related to what you just mentioned, in Israel I worked with a lot of Arabs and people want to get along. We are born into the situation and we just want to go to work and have family and live normal life. And this happens in not all of people are religious, you know. Some people are just nice and kind to each other, love your neighbor as yourself. And they are, they are plain innocent because they are in the middle of the Middle East. So there is kind of problem with that. But my point is that in this war, I connected to this war to a different issue, that it will probably become a big issue, the Israeli Arabs. They are in a big conflict because they don't want to be associated with the extreme Islam. But eventually, if they get the guns from both sides, it's like they are the innocent people of Gaza. They are grown to be like that.
On that, and in context with what Justin was talking about here, I guess I'd want to ask you, 'cause maybe you see it this way, but I guess Jews in general, you growing up and all that, do these following concepts make sense to you? To love your enemies and to love all people like you love yourself? What does that mean to a Jew?
When you say love, from my definition that I agree with Jesse is the nature of God. And love your enemy doesn't mean you should not fight back. Okay, maybe that's a misinterpretation for Christianity that gets criticized about turning the other cheek by not fighting back. And
well, Jesus did fight back against the Sadducees and the Essenes in the temple. He turned tables because there was money changing. And when there is injustice or something that would be, something to stand up for humanity, fine, stand up, protect your family, love your family, fight against those who would harm you and protect their preservation. It would be unloving for you to. But in your Father's home, in the temples, in the places of worship or outside, there should be an example. That's the only thing lacking, is there's no example. And who else are we to look to other than Jesus?
But love your enemy means
Israel.
You need to do the right thing. It's not the emotional love.
Fair enough, I agree. So in general, because I know you get it. I know you're all, but in your estimation, how did you see that concept to love your enemies and love all people? Is that even a Jewish concept, or am I communicating correctly?
Yes, but the answer is that the Jewish is not many. Just a lot of people. Each one has his own opinion.
Yeah.
And
as you've explained,
as what we know, it is very rare to find.
I guess the religious ones. How about them?
So they do what the religious one, the rabbi tells them what to do. And if he really, and let's say I don't know if it's true, but let's say some rabbi gets this message from a different angle. Could be, but
so you're saying it's
like
a diverse. You're saying there's a diversity amongst the rabbis. Some say love your enemies, some say don't. You're saying, is that what you're saying?
It looks to me that I don't see too much God any of these cults.
Yeah,
and Jewish is more an identity, like tradition, and also the Muslim. If they go eventually and explode themselves and do these horrifying stuff, and have hate, I don't care if they pray 5 times a day.
Justin, is there something you wanted to comment, respond here before we move on?
Yeah, I can kind of agree. I just wanted to kind of camp on one thing. Lastly, is that if Yahweh sent the Messiah and the people had not heard, would they still come to Israel? Like you mentioned earlier, if the Messiah was maybe missed, and Hitler and all his activities led to the people coming back to Israel.
So that's the issue, because the Israel is undeniably Israel state, and a lot of the religious people need to find an explanation.
Right.
Okay, so we are here against God's will. A lot of people say, not a lot. There is a small minority that lives in Israel and say, we are here against God, and this is against religion, and Israel is a sin. It's not a lot of people. But
the waiting is over, though. I mean, that's why a lot of people are because. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. You would say, you believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Savior. So the Promised Land is USA. I don't know what to say. It doesn't. You can rationalize it, but eventually the logic explodes, and you see just the war. That's what it is.
You do the prayer, Tomer?
Huh?
You do the prayer?
Yeah.
Every morning, every evening.
That's cool, Tomer. I'd like to talk to you in the future. Maybe Maybe you'll come around on Jesus, huh? It'll happen naturally.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know how it's.
Not that you're against him. I'm saying come around, like it's more of a joke.
Who else will bring peace in Israel besides? Yeah, who else will bring peace in Israel besides Jesus? He's the only one saying, "Don't kill." That's the only example to follow is the teaching that he
out of respect. I will not say something.
No. By all means, I don't think Justin will take it personally.
Go ahead.
We're speaking with love here. No,
it's like
all love.
No, it's really, it's a sensitive issue. I'm not afraid. I just think it's something I should not say, but
if you think
it popped out.
Okay.
Think about what Jesse said. Where is he now?
Where is Jesus now? He's saying.
I did not say. You said.
Oh dang! He's in heaven. I'm proud. No, I'm joking. No, that's identity. Justin, man, thanks for your call. We're gonna move the wheels here. Last thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. God bless and have a great day, and I wish best for your country and the world.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Right on. We got more calls here. We will get to them. I wanted to ask you, okay? Tomer.
Yeah.
Should, in your opinion, and I understand we're gonna be getting into should you and people that are not you, so I understand. But okay, should, in your estimation, the Jewish, I'm going to call it the Jewish diaspora in the global world, okay? The Jewish people in the world that are not in Israel. Mm-hmm. Should they, what do you think about a loyalty, like, for example, American politicians,
dual loyalty?
Et cetera, that kind of stuff. When you're a Jewish person outside of Israel and where loyalty lies in politics or even as a citizen, in your estimation, how do you see all that? Because that's being talked about a lot.
Sure. And the first thing that comes to mind when you ask this question is that Benjamin Netanyahu has a dual nationality.
Oh.
Opa.
Oh, really? From where?
America and Israel.
Oh, okay. Expand. I want you to expand on what you said.
Benjamin Netanyahu is an American.
Oh, dang.
That's it. His family is from America.
Globalist.
And, that's the dual citizenship. I mean, it's all over the world that people have dual citizenship. It's not something special to Israel.
I have a dual citizenship.
It's not.
But hey, I have a heart of an American. Don't judge me. But okay,
I would.
I didn't choose this life. Okay,
I have an answer.
Go on.
I'm saying if you are an American citizen, don't take it for granted. You are very lucky. Mm-hmm. That's the way I see it. Not all people see it, but I'm saying just appreciate it that you're an American citizen. I would be really grateful if I had only one citizenship. I'm American. For some people, that's it.
But I would never vote for Canadians while being here. I wouldn't vote I would never think, nowhere, not even for a second would I think in my politics, voting here in America, would I think, oh, this will be good for Canadians. That doesn't even cross my mind.
So why don't you just give up your citizenship?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't take if someone were to say that about me, you have a dual loyalty. I understand where they're coming from, and it's a fair question to ask of your politicians, for example. But I'm not. But if they think that about me, I know myself. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, they think of it. Hey, I know myself. I know I know who I'm about. I know I wouldn't vote for Canadians in American politics. Let them think that about me.
But it makes you like if they can call you.
It's also a good just in case.
I mean,
that's a joke.
Okay, Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau.
Okay,
that's a joke.
I mean, I wouldn't. I think if I didn't like I don't see any reason why don't you give up the citizenship, except, if they're evil and you want to get back at them. But I don't know. If I don't know. That's it. You're Canadian?
I grew up in Canada, and I was born in America, so I have an American citizenship by way of the 14th Amendment. I'm an Anchorbaby, but still with an American citizenship. But I do take that. I take that rather seriously. I wouldn't go voting for. Let's say I'm in politics, or even just as a citizen. There's no reason for me to have an allegiance in America. But like I know in my heart, I have a good place to the. I grew up there. I was naturalized over time. I didn't choose to get a Canadian citizenship. It was just something my parents did. But I have a deep appreciation for the Canadians. Mm-hmm. I can have that, and yet at the same time, there's got to be a separation in civics. I mean, it's just basics, right? I mean, American politicians should be
I think
for
you should
America.
consider it. Why do you call Gorgonzola? Why do you call it
Gorgonzola? I mean, Gorgonzola. It's just
from?
it's just a silly name, honestly. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Gorgonzola. I mean, Gorgonzola is a blue cheese.
Yeah, I know, it's great cheese.
I don't like blue cheese.
I love it.
I don't know why I chose that name. But also, if you notice, it says HOLA, like hola. It's cute.
Got it. Nice.
That's my Spanish diaspora or something like that. I don't know.
Gorgonzola.
But that's just my point, right? I just think American politicians should be for America.
Yeah.
That's.
I think if you're really a patriot, you should give up your second citizenship. Just like you demand.
Dang, chat, what do you guys think? Are you on Tomer's side here?
Just like you demand from others, be an example.
Am I showing dual loyalty here? What do you guys think? Press 1 in the chat if I should give up my Canadian citizenship. Man, thank you for being with us. It's been fun. Let's keep going here. You still got a little bit more time?
Wonderful. I got all day.
Right on. We got Mark, Los Angeles, California. You're on the air, sir. You're on with our guest, Tomer. It sounds like you might want to talk about something else, though. Feel free to speak about what you like.
Yeah, I've been dying to talk to you. They just released the manifesto of that devil, LGBTQ evil, that killed those Christian kids in Tennessee several months ago.
So
it just came out about 20 minutes ago.
I saw this morning. Go on.
Well, I only heard about it 20 minutes ago. Did you read the manifesto?
Well, let's get into it a little bit. Tomer, you know anything about what he's talking about?
Listen.
So Audrey Hale was this basically was this person a transgender, Mark?
Yeah, it was a thing, I call them.
Nashville,
it went from
Tennessee. There was a shooting
trying to be a woman to being a man.
And so this shooter it went into this school and actually shot children, correct?
Killed 3 children and 3 adults.
And so this has been a huge thing because you know how these shooters sometimes have manifestos of talking about why they do things. They kept this manifesto of this particular person hush-hush, like nobody, like for months, the longest time. It turns out this morning.
How long it was?
It's been a while now. How long has it been? Do you know, Mark?
At least 4 months. And it was it was a YouTuber. They did not release it. They would have kept it under wraps forever, but I forgot his. I think
Stephen Crowder.
I could be wrong. Is it Michael Knowles?
Are you talking about Stephen Crowder?
Or Stephen Crowder? I'm sorry.
Stephen Crowder is the one that. So it was a leak. It wasn't meant to be leaked.
It was a leak. Oh. And let me get to the point here.
Please go ahead.
In the manifesto, she said she wanted to kill crackers. It was a racially motivated murder spree. She wanted to murder Christians and, in her words, crackers, which is a slur for the white man. That's who these demons are. They've been brainwashed and indoctrinated since they've been in school. They're just perverted evil devils. And for them to target white people, for that thing to target white people, tells you what the left wants. They want us disarmed and they want us killed. Why do you think they've hid that manifesto and would have continued to hide it unless if it wasn't for that Crowder guy? Why do you think they would have held it in wraps? Because this is a premeditated attack against the white race. And it's being led by Biden, who says he's got the LGBTQ, he's got their backs. Yeah, he's got their backs when he wastes us, when these monsters kill us. That's why there's a war on whites. And Biden and the low-life scum that are his puppet masters are the ones responsible through the FBI to keep that manifesto secret.
It's crazy, man. I see what you're saying.
You got to read that thing.
I mean, we have it on the screen right now. We're going to read a couple excerpts here since we have you on the air now. And honestly, I got to agree, Mark, it really is an anti-white thing. And I think it's personally my belief that that's why they kept it under wraps for so long. Because it's
still under wraps.
Right, it's still under wraps technically. And I got to say, I personally agree. I mean, I think most people... I mean, even Biden, I think most people don't realize that what they're supporting here when they say we stand behind the LGBT. I think it's fair to say, if I may, Mark, I think it's fair to say most people, maybe Biden doesn't, but I think it's fair to say most people, I think they don't realize what they're supporting here because in reality, they don't realize they're supporting messed up families, messed up minds, and messed up people and justifying their mess. You might think, oh, well, it's just a preference and all that, but these things are not coming about in a vacuum. These are broken homes, raising these people who call themselves all these things. I mean, look at this. Some of this says this excitement about the day is here. We're gonna kill those. I mean, can we say cracker on YouTube? I mean, people get banned on that on Twitch. I'm just reading the manifesto, YouTube. I mean, they're talking about killing crackers here. I mean, Mark, please go ahead.
Yeah, and my anger today isn't so much at the monster who did this. It's the people that are covering it up and the reason they're covering it up. You know, we still don't know why the Vegas guy, was that in 2017, killed all those people in Vegas.
Yep.
There was probably a racial angle to that. I'm not saying there was. I have no proof. I have no way to know. But the Las Vegas police aren't going to tell us.
That remains a mystery, man. It is crazy. I mean, that was.
But when you think about it, he targeted a country music festival, almost exclusively white. That just tells me.
That's an interesting point, Mark.
Yes.
Wow.
And also, if I could say one other thing, I don't want to forget. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to get all these things out. The pedophile island, it's not a manifesto, but the list of people who visited the island, why has that still not been revealed? My guess is because it's liberals and elitists and globalists that are on that list. And they don't want the American. Why do you think they're trying to make white people a minority in this country so fast?
If you ask me, I can only say that because in general, in a large part, they still remain somewhat Christian, somewhat individualistic, and somewhat not still susceptible to the most basic of like government control and kind of thing. I could maybe a little bit more, but somewhere in that ballpark.
Well, who are you speaking about? Who are you referring to?
Who is thinking that about white people?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not thinking about anyone specific. Evil people, the children of the lie.
Well, the thing that killed the children in Tennessee.
Right, that's the children of the lie.
Right, but all these hidden things that the government isn't releasing on these mass murders and pedophile island, I had an instinctive feeling when I heard about this 20 minutes ago.
That it was racial?
I had a feeling before I even heard about it.
I think our guest here, Tomer, wants to respond to something here.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you sound like it's surprised, but Jesse been talking about it like forever. I read these books from the 90s. If it was a black against white, they don't publish it. If it's against white, if it's white do it, racially motivated, they do publish it. It's been going on forever. Same thing. So this is the CNN. This is what they do for a while. The globalists, you can call it. What's behind it? That's a big question, man.
But the media, you're saying, I mean, you've seen this play out from Israel for years. The media basically using conspiracy theories to tell them that and hide some stories and show others. You've seen this from over there.
From Israel, I remember the Jesse Smollett, and I saw it, and I thought it's 100% fake. The second they did it. And now you tell me it's a few months. Of course, if just the fact they tell you the manifesto is covered, it's probably for the wrong reason. It's not going to be the other way.
Mark, you want to make a comment here? I want to ask you a question too.
Well, I'm not sure who your guest is. I haven't been listening because I was looking into that manifesto thing, but what is he, pro-Israel?
No, Tomer, our guest, is from Israel. I met him at church, and he sees what Bond's about forgiveness and all that. But he is also a man who calls himself Jewish, and is from there. We've had quite an interesting conversation. You're welcome to podcast the previous conversation here, as it was, it's diverse. It's quite interesting.
Sure. The only question I'm sorry, what's his name?
Tomer.
The only question I would ask him, is he familiar with the Protocols of Zion?
Do you know anything about that?
Familiar with it. I know the Zionist movement, which is the leader is the Theodor Herzl. Mm-hmm. They were talking about moving back to Israel. Yeah, so that's for me. That's what Zionism is. It's like Jesse always asks, what is Zionism? Mm-hmm. Zionism is back to Israel. The Jewish were all over the world, and they decided to go back to Israel. That's Zionism.
Theodor Herzl, right? How do you say that?
Herzl.
How do you say his name?
Theodor Benjamin Herzl. Herzl, it's H-E-R-Z.
This is part of the reason why I asked you about should the Jewish diaspora and the loyalty thing, because it was him who said something along the lines of how Jews around the world need to support Israel first over anything else. And this is how I see Zionism. I see Zionism the same way. For me, Zionism has only ever meant that Jews should have a home. For
Jewish nationalism.
Right, yeah. Jewish nationalism. And if you ask me, I think they should have a home. I want nationalism for all people. But I've also been learning lately that it also refers to some sort of prophecy, that the Bible says that they have a claim to the land, and now you have American politicians who are basically believing a prophecy. You know, see what I'm saying? And I don't know about all that.
It makes sense that the person who dedicates his whole life for religion and who lives in the world because he doesn't believe he needs to live in Israel, will put the religion before the country. His religion is before the land. Yes, 100%. The religious people who are patriotic in Israel put the religion of Jewish before Israel. I'm not saying all, they are different. But there is a show called The Patriots. And they say, we are first of all Jewish, then we are Israeli. So, of course, they are first of all Jewish and then American, don't forget. But it can vary because people are individuals, have different approaches. So I cannot talk and pretend that I know what all Jewish people think. So each person to his own. But, of course, there are some people, I can tell you it's very mainstream, right-wing, that first of all they are Jewish, then they are Israeli. So let alone USA. Yeah, they're first of all Jewish, and then they're Americans. Yes.
Fascinating. Man, thank you for that. Mark, anything else? Last thing. We got to move the wheels here.
Oh, did you have a question for me? I thought you said.
Oh, I did. Thank you. Mark, what do you think about when you say, you said my anger today? You know us, Mark. This is where we come in. Yeah? Now this is where we come in, Mark. What do you mean by anger? The Audrey Hale manifesto's got you angry?
No. What got me angry are the 3 children it killed. What got me angry were the 3 adults that thing killed. But what made me the most angry was how the scumbags who run our media and our government, deep state, covered up the manifesto for this long. And technically it's still covered up. Thank God for a brave journalist.
Man, I don't disagree. But do you see anything in the wisdom of not being angry and how evil it is to be angry, even at the very thing you're describing as horrific as it is?
I mean, I think it's natural to be angry. I think it's a natural feeling. It's a human nature. If it wasn't for anger, you wouldn't be able to react to, say, someone trying to assault you. If someone comes up or tries to assault a loved one, your mom or your wife, naturally you're going to get angry. I mean, if you don't get angry, then there's something wrong with you. I think there are people that fly off the handle too quick on small things. But killing people and then putting out a manifesto bragging about the people that you've killed because of their race, I mean, that doesn't move you to anger.
Do you get angry, Mark, sometimes in life? If I may get a little personal, and you find that natural when you feel those feelings, you find something natural about that?
Yeah, because it overcomes me. It's not,
and that's natural to you. Something overcoming you is natural. Like, so are you saying that the anger in that moment is in control and not you?
And to a degree. I mean, I'm not.
And tell me what's natural about that.
I wouldn't do anything irrational if I was angry.
Have you ever done anything irrational while angry, though?
Yes, I have.
Yes. So what's natural about that? No, you don't have to get into it. But that sounds very unnatural to me.
Well, I mean, I've taken anger management, just to let you know. But the point is, I'm not a criminal. And
I don't think you are. But I think because we've been talking about a bunch of things today, and one thing is about for example, the innocents in Gaza and all that, and about that, and I don't think people see that anger is evil. I know, and I have my own thoughts about the innocents in Gaza and what I have my own thoughts, but it's like it's anger and that wicked heart that makes you evil, and that's kind of what I like to talk about. So I don't think that's natural, in my opinion, Mark. I don't think it's natural to be angry. I think it's in fact quite unnatural, and I think you can defend yourself in a better degree, to a greater degree. You can defend yourself, your home, your nation, your everything. If you weren't angry, you are actually better off. You're actually better. You're even better in a fight. You talk to fighters sometimes. You'll hear them, UFC fighters and all that. They all say the same thing. It's the calm one who wins. I just don't think it's natural to be angry, Mark.
Well, do you put anger and violence in the same category?
Not necessarily. I think you can even be.
Doesn't anger lead to violence?
Yes, but I mean, would you call, like, some people might call defending yourself that you might need a little violence there?
And a little anger.
Not necessarily. That's where we disagree. I think you could be. I think you could be on like these fighters, Mark. These fighters who say the calm one wins. Are they using violence? But yet they're calm.
That's true.
Are you a Christian?
I can't argue with that. But
our guest has a question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. So Jesse would ask, "Are you a Christian?"
Catholic. Yeah.
Catholic. Okay. So if you're a Christian, so how come you say that anger is normal?
Well, it is for me. I mean, if somebody came up to you in the street and hit you, you're telling me you wouldn't get angry?
You would get.
No, I'm asking you.
Like I might, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's good though. If I could remain calm, even when I was punched on the streets, I would handle that situation perfectly.
I mean,
I'm not saying I would, but can we agree you should?
Yeah, sure. I
exactly.
agree. You should.
And that's the point. That to me is proof that anger is evil, and that is not natural.
Well, it can be. It was anger and violence.
No such thing as justified anger.
No,
just
it was
try
anger.
With it. Try it. See if it works for you. If it works for you to get angry, keep being angry and suffer.
Well, it's not that I want to, but when you hear stories and you know, you see things and people you love or hurt.
So why don't you overcome anger?
Have you ever thought about that?
Well, I pray, meditate. I do everything legally that I can, but I don't know if there is a way. And I don't think I have a problem with it. I think anger, again, is natural. And you can't tell me you don't get mad.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. This is not holier than thou. This is not from a cloud up in this.
I don't mean that, but
it is because when you overcome.
But I'm not saying I don't. But I just know that it's unnatural. I know it's unnatural, and I know it's evil. Exactly. I'm just convicted of this. But hey, you're saying it works for you. You're saying it's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I'm not advocating for people to be be
Fair enough. I think you've made that quite clear, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but
by all means, go ahead.
Be angry. Is that for me?
By all means, go ahead. I cut you off.
I was going to say that anger and violence won wars for this country. We didn't talk the Indians into giving us this country. It took violence. So when they say violence is as American as apple pie, they're actually telling the truth. Some of the people that say it hate America, but it's still a true statement. If it wasn't for violence, guns, and killing, we wouldn't have the United States of America.
All nations start off at the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, but God is not God. If it's made with God, it's not like anger did not give you United States. God gave you, and if it's from God, it's not anger, violence.
Pretty angry.
But you can be. It's just like we talked about Christianity, about the other cheek. You can fight without anger. The best fighter. There is a quote: "The best fighter fights without anger."
As an Israeli man who calls himself a Jew, you judgers. Hey, right on, Tomer. Mark, go ahead. Last thing.
Last comment for your guest. I would suggest that he reads the book, The Talmud Unmasked, and you'll get all the answers you guys are looking for into what the Talmud stands for. I'll let it go at that. You can Google it, The Talmud Unmasked. I don't know the author, but I think you guys will find it very interesting.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your call. Call me again. And last thing, anything you want to say to that?
I'm saying don't.
Take care, Mark. Call me again.
Bye-bye.
Oh, right on. Fascinating. You guys rock. Thank you for all the calls and super chats here. I feel like we were about to get into something here, but now I'm lost.
Do we have a break maybe sometime?
A break? I mean, we could take we're almost like maybe 20 minutes from the end of the show.
The end of the show. Okay.
Yeah, but did you want to go to the bathroom or something?
I didn't know because I saw you have a show for 4.5 hours.
I know. That's true. That's true. Sometimes I'll go pretty long. But no, today we'll be ending at 2.
Okay.
I mean, if you're still cool to go till the end of then, is that fine? You're welcome to go to the bathroom though if you gotta go. Like
No, 20 minutes. No, I don't need. I just thought I didn't know how much time.
Yeah, no problem. We got like 20 more minutes. We'll see if another call comes in. There's some things I want to get into here, I think. Let me just pull it up. So many interesting things have happened already. 888-775-3773. You want to jump on the line there. Carver, thank you for the super chat there, says, and that's how he became the American anchor Bibi. Right on, cute. Thank you, Carver, there for the super chat. I see you all over there on Rumble. Thank you. Hey, Nick, hold up. It's Captain Nick. What's up, brother? God bless U.S. God bless us all. Everyone is well, I hope. Thank you, Brian, over there on Rumble. You can't support on Rumble. Rumble.com/American
Yeah, give
Anchorbaby.
Nick some money. Come on.
Yeah, we gotta split this, huh?
No,
we gotta do a
no,
little split. We gotta go halvesies on this one, huh, Tomer, huh?
Don't worry about it. I'm grateful to be here.
Right on, man.
I'm just trying to encourage people. Give back. You need to give back.
Nice, Tomer. Thank you. Hey, nice shirt too. Rocking the Tom like a mug. You gotta love the merch.
Yeah.
Let's go. Right on. Okay, so we've gotten into the Talmud. We got into all sorts of stuff. You know, I wanted to kind of drive a point that you made home a little bit is how godless people are. I mean, I think people like to take sides and say, well, look, this is a Christian nation or that. And I've been making this commentary about, for example, like Haiti. And Haiti is a country with problems. And my opinion is because they turned away from God. They turned away from Christianity. Mm-hmm. And if you look it up right now, Haiti is like 90% Catholic. So you say, whoa, Nick, I thought you said they turned away from God. But I'll look at America and I'll see things like this, right? I'll see things like this. Can you even hear it? Hold on. I'll see things like this and I realize that the stats that say 90% or whatever percentage of Christian in America, most of them are probably godless too, you know what I mean?
Hooping and hollering.
Hooping and hollering. Let me show the people who are watching here. You know what I mean?
Only a few. Only a few.
True.
The world is a mess. The world is godless.
Yeah.
You know, in Israel, some rabbis say this whole happened because people were not keeping the Sabbath. I mean,
what happened? This war?
This war because people don't do this. You know,
wow.
Come on, it's not real. You know, it's not.
Okay,
it's not
help me
serious.
understand.
It's not.
You're
serious.
saying because you didn't keep the Sabbath, this is like a punishment. And what is the Sabbath again? Like in Israel?
The day of rest. Like God, the seventh day, took the day of rest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's a common thing and you don't hear it a lot because now everybody's united and everything. But every time there is a disaster, they say, it's because Israeli did not keep the Sabbath and this is what happens. Mm-hmm. God punishes us. It's not about Haiti. That's what I'm just responding to what you say, Haiti.
Yeah.
The disasters of the world, I cannot explain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying even if a disaster happened to you, it doesn't matter what happened to you. You don't go about it as a good or bad. You just when God is with you, you just be, and you deal with things the best way. That's all.
Fascinating. Thank you, man. So I wanted to ask you quick two things that people are interested in. We were talking about white people and the attack on white people in America, and all that. I mean, you seem to see that quite clearly.
Yes,
it sounds like it from your talking with Mark.
Yes, I follow it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also in some way in Israel, it's against Western culture. There's a cultural war for a while already.
Mm-hmm.
And also between Israelis, there was a very big issue between the Jewish Ashkenazis, which is from Europe,
mm-hmm.
and the Jewish from Arab countries, which are the blacks.
Oh, wow.
And now there was a Black Panthers. There was a Black Panthers in Israel that they were.
Wow.
Yeah, they exactly imitated. And
they call themselves that too?
Yeah, they still exist, by the way. What's ridiculous is that they are the Bibi supporters. Bibi is the king of the Moroccans, I call him.
Okay.
All the people from the Arab country love the Bibi. Because he's the man.
And so, wow, this is fascinating. So, just to make this clear too, the Ashkenazis, you guys see them like the Europeans,
the people from the Holocaust who built up the country.
And then there's the Arab,
and Jewish from Arab countries.
You said Moroccan.
Yeah, man. Now, in my opinion, and I think there was a culture war, and a lot of criticism that the first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, kidnapped babies, and I felt it in my life much worse than Hamas. I tell you the truth. Also, even in the 9/11, I don't want to say more, but it was in Israel, the culture war, also between Jewish people, and there was also on both directions, whining about discrimination and victimhood.
Wow.
There was this exactly. I don't know about exactly the same, but it got to really violent level.
Very fascinating. I know there's this connection people are making between Israel and the whole thing right now. Oh, Sephardic? Is that what you call them, Sephardic? The Arab Jews?
The Arab Jews? Yeah, you can call them Sephardic. Some call them the Eastern, like Mizrahim. Sephardic is like Spanish and Ashkenaz.
Wow.
There is you can call it as it is. You can, the Jewish people from the Europe and Jewish, because Sephardic is Sfarad is Spain, so Spain is Europe. You know,
that's super
Spain
cool.
is Europe, but from what happened, that there was kind of before the Holocaust, there was on Spain there was kind of a Holocaust to Jewish people, and some went to North Africa and some went to Europe, or I don't know exactly how it happened, but. There is also a lot of huge Jewish communities in Iran, Yemen, and of course, as we know, the Holocaust, like Poland and all over the world, Jewish.
Okay, let me collect my thoughts. I have like 3 questions for you. You said you wanted to say something about 9/11?
9/11. Now that I just did not like the fact that Barack Obama was elected after 9/11, and a lot of Israelis supported it. And to tell you the truth, after I didn't visit the United States for a while, and I saw it a very big change for the worse, but before Obama and after Obama, it was very apparent. But there was a vibe that, now it's our time. That's what they say
in Israel.
Yeah, so they say the white people until now they call the shots, and now it's our time.
Gotcha.
Also brown.
Also, but this sentiment was in Israel as well.
Yeah, because Israel is middle. A lot of people are from the Middle East.
So is it fair to say, because I've heard this described a little bit, and I'm starting to understand that there's a conversation that goes a little bit like this, that Israel is almost like a battleground where the Western and the non-Western world meet.
Microcosmos.
Is that true? Do you see it this way as well?
Yeah, definitely.
And that also, before this reason, that's why we have an interest on siding with Israel, for example, because they're almost a representation of the West, and we'd rather be on that side than the other.
Yeah, and also the Arabs prefer Israeli than Palestine. They prefer that to be people sit in coffee house and high tech and great university than living in the desert with tents. But or Hamas ruling, whatever. They prefer the West. That's why they move. But yeah, it's a settlement. A lot of people say it's a settlement of United States inside. I mean, it's enough to look at the map every once in a while and see where Israel is.
Yeah.
And then you start to do 1 + 1. Okay. There is in order for this to exist, also a lot of money needs to go around. A lot of Arab countries are quiet for a long time because they get money
from America,
from Israel, America.
Oh, well, think about the Abraham Accords. Think about they're trying to recognize Israel, and that's pretty huge. What was happening with the Abraham Accords? Biden, Saudi Arabia, almost.
Trump was the best.
Yeah,
and I didn't see it.
So wouldn't this be against American interest? That to create a conflict in that region? I mean, we've talked about it. I understand very clearly it's a military response. You got to do it. But because people are trying to connect Israel, the West, and all that. But wouldn't this, if we consider for a second, Biden, Trump, the American policy has been to basically try and recognize Israel through the Abraham Accords, have peace. A conflict in the region that would that would make the Muslim world go crazy and want war is against U.S. interests. Or what do you think about that?
It is strategic that Israel exists. It's strategic for the West that Israel exists inside the Middle East. And of course, the Abraham Accord were really expanding Israel. But what happened in this war, as far as I see it, is the Muslim world proved that if it unites together against Israel, exactly when it was supposed to be there was supposed to be a very big Saudi peace.
Yes.
And I kind of underestimated, but I heard some really important people and reliable that said that this would take it to another level. And this timing probably had to do a lot with it. But don't forget, Israel, they say, rumors, if we have really nuclear weapon, and the whole world, all Muslim world, take over Israel and the nuclear, it's interest of the United States. And it's already here. We were born into this reality that Israel is an American interest, and we call ourselves a settlement of U.S. I think I call it. I don't know if but it doesn't look.
I don't think that's an unfair description. I don't know. This is silly because I know it's not that important, but I'm fascinated by history, and I'm trying to get closer and closer to the day, July 1948.
48.
I'm trying to get the info. What happened that night? The British mandate for Palestine ended at midnight. Huh? What happened? Because they say, oh, the Arabs attacked them, but then they'll say, well, no.
Why does it
honestly,
matter?
I don't care. No, I have to say this doesn't matter. But I keep trying to get closer to that point, and it's hard to find out. It's hard to really find the truth. It's like a magnet, two magnets that won't touch.
At least I say in this war, we know who started it.
Absolutely.
At least now
100%. Yeah. I don't deny that a little bit.
Usually I say, how can we presume to know history? We don't know what's going on in our neighborhood these days. Even when they do the forecast of the weather, they tell me how much you are not even right about today. Tell me about tomorrow.
Yeah.
So about who started it? Come on.
When you say a settlement of U.S., they were helped by the U.S.
It's
and the creation and all that.
U.S. also put a lot of money in both sides. I assume.
I've heard this too.
I can only assume we don't know what's going on. I am afraid that China calls the shot. They say that Iran is like the head of the snake that is the chess player and we know that the Biden administration is like stop the Iran deal.
Right.
But tell you the good thing about Trump. First of all, they say if Trump was at office, this would not happen. And this is 100%. And Trump also, the good thing he was not, if you try to look what's good about that he was not elected, is that the day he would leave, this would all explode. If he would have been elected.
Gotcha.
It's like the Muslim ban. You cannot appreciate the Muslim ban until he's not there.
Oh, is what you're saying is if he had the two terms back to back, it would have just been they would just wait until there's no Trump,
up. Yeah.
And then this would happen, and now we wouldn't be able to respond.
Yeah, now you see, okay, it's interesting. We can at least think forward a little bit more. That's I thought about it today.
Fascinating. I have one super chat here from someone that I think that they have a question for you. And I think we're going to end the show. We're pretty much there. Tomer, it's been awesome, but hold on. We got a super chat from Frederick. You talked to him on the phone not too long ago here. He says, how did Jews keep the Shabbat? How did Jews keep the Shabbat before the creation of Israel without Shabbos goys? Do you know what he's talking about?
How did they keep the Shabbos without Shabbat? Who said that? Yeah, Shabbat goys is because you're not allowed to light fire. So it means if I want to light the electricity, I need somebody to light it up.
Oh, gotcha.
So they have the goys is a Gentile.
Gotcha.
So they keep a person who is a non-Jew who does all the illegal stuff,
Gotcha, because he's not under the same law or whatever.
Yeah, but I think this question is not like so serious. because
Well, now that you've explained to me what that is, it sounds like that's an ancient thing. Shabbos goys like
Shabbos goys is a thing. You know, it's like somebody doing for you stuff on Saturday. So he says, before God's creation, who turned the fire for you? You know, I don't know how.
Do you know what a house Negro is?
I don't say.
Have you ever heard that term?
About that.
Let's ask Frederick about that, huh? No.
That's a JLP network, issue, trend.
Man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I don't think there's anything else here. Let me just make sure we got all the super chats and all that. Tomer, is there any way you want it? If you want people to find your stuff, if you really want that, do you want to put it out again?
Yeah,
find your Facebook. I know you make some posts online and Twitter as well. I mean, x.com.
Yeah, X. My name, just my name. Tomer Tzvi. It's on X. TOMERTSI.
Mm-hmm.
And on Facebook, usually I like more TOMER. And the last
I think you recently followed me on X.
Yeah, I started now, I think.
Yeah, I have you here. I'm going to put your link in the chat so people can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Man, I had fun too. I really appreciate that. Anything you want to say to the folks before we go here?
Just thank you, and hope I wish you well.
Big time.
Yeah.
I think those who have love in the chat should and would wish you and Israel well in anything how it must be. And I think the same thing. God's will, and I wish you well. I want nationalism for everybody. I think the Jews should have a home. And I know this prophecy and Bible stuff and prophet. I don't know about all that, and I don't care about that. But it's been an absolute pleasure, Tomer, to have you. Hope to have you again, man. This has been awesome. I think my viewers enjoyed this. Folks, that's the show, American Anchorbaby. Catch me again tomorrow at around the same time. Well, no, not around. We gotta be tough here. What do you mean around the same time? 12 o'clock, American Anchorbaby on the dot tomorrow, Tuesday. We got Joel Friday on tomorrow at 11 a.m. And of course, Hake Report and Jesse Lee Peterson, 9 a.m., 6 a.m. respectively. Folks, that is the show. That is the show. That is the show. I shall say bye to you for a fourth, a fifth time. I say bye so many times, man. I don't know why I can never just say bye and end the show. Folks, let me just say bye finally for one final time, huh? Take care, folks, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Corpus.